This video is responding to a channel visitor's question that was posted up on the wall. She wanted to know what it meant if a guy told you, well, she says actually several guys have told her this, that she looks like she doesn't need a man. And I've talked about this kind of game in several different relationships and advice columns, but I'm going to try to set it out here within the next 7 minutes to make it very clear what this game is. So when a man comes into your life, he's looking for something. Now, whether that's something wholesome and sane, like, he really wants to share love and be with someone and have a family and treat her royal and treat her right and do all the things that a traditional husband and father does, that's one thing. But I'd say that's the majority of them are looking to figure out some kind of way to get the upper hand. They aren't really there to love you and be vulnerable. They want you to be vulnerable to them. So when you see a man who approaches you and he's what he's doing, he's assessing you. He's looking at what kind of self-confidence you have, how you look him in the eye, your body posture, how well you take care of your skin, your hair, your nails. He's looking at all of that, and he's just making an assessment of what kind of value you place on yourself. Now, this is very important because a lot of you will have the outer shell working, but you have no confidence in yourself whatsoever. So they're going to, she dressed nice, her hair is whipped, she got all the stuff going on, nice car, this and that, her skin is looking good. And then they start spitting their game at you, and they want to see how you, that's the second part of the test, to see how you respond. And there are those of you who will respond in a very needy way. You let him know by the way that you respond that you would be open to being love bombed and being manipulated and being controlled, because you are open to listening to the trash that he's talking and responding in a positive way. So remember how I always tell you guys, you got to keep your emotions in check. This is a perfect example of it. Let me give you an example of how this went bad. And this was way before I got on the internet. I'm not even sure we were, this was still in the early days when CompuServe and AOL were the kings. It's, like the early 90s. But I used to live next to this woman, that had twin daughters. And she was a very educated, very, very nice lady, but very, very low self-esteem and very needy for male companionship. The time that we lived across the hall from her, and it was only a year that she stayed there, I can't even count, probably at least 50 different dudes that she had up in her house. And it was just unbelievable. So she always was looking for men to validate her, to tell her that she was beautiful, that she was enough, that she was a good cook, that she was pretty, that it was just unbelievable. So anyway, at this one evening, we were at this club, right? Jeffrey's Inner Circle, my old stomping ground. And this guy, I got up to go to the bathroom, right? I come back, this guy sitting at our table. And so I'm looking at him because that's my desk stare, like, get up, clown. And so he's sitting there, and I said, you need to get up, that's my seat. So he gets up, and he's standing next to her. So I'm irritated that I even had to tell him that. You know what I mean? He just gonna sit there and have me stand there? No, get up. So I'm already irritated, and I'm giving him the up and down, like, trying to figure out what kind of clown this is that she is sitting at the table talking to. So then it comes out. So then she tells me, well, Deb, he say, that he gonna help me pay my bills, and he gonna do this and he gonna do that. And I must have cut my eyes and turned my head and looked at that fool and gave him that, like, you gotta be kidding me look. And so he had enough decency to duck his head down and hide. I said, girl, he's not going to do none of that. He's just trying to get them draws. What are you talking about? And so, he was like, no, I'm going to be sincere. I'm this and that. So we went home and he was there. And I think he spent the weekend with her and she ain't heard from him since. But that's an example of, when they start spinning that kind of game to see how you respond. She responded in a very needy, yes, that's what I want to hear kind of way. And so when you are a woman, though, who is with a guy who has value, you talking to a dude and he values himself and he values you, he's not going to talk to you like that. He's going to approach you from a whole different way. Because he's not looking for a woman who's needy and unhappy and insecure. He's looking for the complete opposite. He wants somebody who's a peer, who's a match for him, who can get to hit the ground running, who they can do together as his woman. They can do great and wonderful and powerful things. He's not looking for somebody that he can dominate and control because he has more confidence in himself than that. So always understand, if you got a guy who's coming at you like that, that is a man with very little confidence and extremely low self-esteem. He has to play silly games in order to feel like he has to get you to keep your attention. He needs a woman who has worse self-esteem than him so that he can attack you and break you down even more. He wasn't going to attack your looks, your hobbies, your body, what you wear, your age, your marital status, your skin color, your hair texture, your weight, anything else that they can think of. They're going to attack it because that's how they break you down and make you even more dependent and vulnerable to him. That's what they want. As a matter of fact, I did a video where a guy was talking about something similar, just came to mind, where he's talking about he wants that men should look for women who are weak and insecure and who need them. They want a woman who's afraid of losing them. I believe that's the title of the video. And I'll try to remember to link it up here. But, the guy has low self-esteem. He's going to attempt to make himself feel better by making you feel worse. He tries to make himself feel more powerful and better and more elevated than you by attacking and demeaning you so that your status is lower and lower in his mind. That doesn't mean it's true. That's just in his mind. And what their goal is to have a woman that they can seduce very easily, that they can make fall in love with them, because they know 90% of women, once their emotions are involved, they lose their minds. Their brains go off and they just start reacting based on what they feel. And when you react to a man based on what you feel, he got you over a barrel. None of your logic and reason is going to go out the window, because you're going to be worried about how he makes you feel and how you feel about him, instead of being realistic and assessing, how is this man treating me? How is this man talking to me? Does any of the stuff that he promised me when he was in the seduction phase actually come true? Or is he still half-stepping and got me on a string for 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years? There's nothing. I just want you to understand this. I want you to understand this. There is nothing that a man who I call a low-value man resents more than a woman who doesn't need him. When he can assess that you are, you got stuff going on in your life and you are in control of your mind and your emotions, that you don't allow people to make you feel bad about yourself, that your self-esteem is so high that he is impenetrable by his silliness, they know that there's nothing for them there. And that's when you will hear statements like what came out of this guy's mouth. You look like you don't need a man. When a woman, quote, needs a man, she is dependent upon him to validate her as a woman. She is dependent upon him to make her feel good about herself. These are the kind of women who don't feel good if they're not in a relationship. They feel like a rudderless ship. They're not doing nothing. They all morose and sad and all of this stuff. And then when they finally do get some guy in their life, he becomes their entire existence. They go to work, they go home to worry about him. They go to church maybe to go and then go home to worry about him. Every time they have a conversation with them, they talking about him. They're not doing nothing for themselves, for the betterment of themselves. Years and years, sometimes decades go by, and these women waste their entire life. All they do is focus on this man and what he's talking about. And what they try to do, I want to make sure that you understand this, is they intentionally choose a woman like this neighbor of mine. They will choose a woman who's not busy and doesn't have much, she's not really doing nothing with her life. They have to find a woman whose life feels empty to her, so that he can come in with his dreams, his fast talk, and fill your head full of possibilities and maybes and mights and shoulda, woulda, couldas and potential and hope, which another word I hate, so that you will feel like he is the answer to your prayers. He is the one who can make your dreams come true. He's the one who finally is going to fulfill you. So you put all this importance on his presence in your life. And once you do that, you will do pretty much anything to make sure that he stays there. You will take all kinds of abuse. You will take all kind of nonsense and mistreatment and disrespect because you are dependent on his presence. And that's what they want. So when they say, well, you look like you don't need a man, then he means that you're not that kind of woman. That you're not going to be looking for him to fulfill you and give your life meaning and direction and all that stuff because you already did it for yourself. So they're going to leave you alone. He needs you to be, there has to be some emptiness, a need that he has to be able to come into your life and fill so that he can easily step in and get the upper hand. If it's going to be an uphill battle, he's going to leave you alone. If it's going to be something that he has going to have to spend too much money, effort, and time, he's going to leave you alone. Only a guy who's sincere and wants somebody who's on a par with him is going to stick around. So if you got a guy who asks you this kind of question or makes a statement like this to you, already understand what time it is. This is a very low value man. Remember that I talked about the romantic market value? From Dr. Larry Davis's book, Black and Single. I don't know, when was it written? 95, 6, 7, 4, something like that. The romantic market value, you got a man who's very low on the value chain. So if you're a woman, you got busy stuff. You in your sorority, you do community work, you do all the stuff. You got a busy job. You're traveling for work. You travel for fun. You have high self-esteem. You're successful at everything that you do. You have a lot of interest. You're passionate about life. You're confident. You have a lot of friends. You interact well with your family. You have great client relationships. You're beautiful. And you validate your beauty. You're talented and you validate your talent. You have abilities and you validate your abilities. You won't need to then be dependent on any man, any miscellaneous stray fool that you meet online or off to validate you and give you value in your own head. So understand this. These dudes are good. They understand what they're looking at. They understand that you are a confident woman or that you are not. They can read you like a book because they're predators. So, if you got a dude coming up and telling you that, you look like you need a man, I could be that man for you. I understand this. Understand that you're on a slippery slope to hell. You got to do something about yourself. Get yourself into some therapy. Do something so that you can build up your self-esteem and confidence. There's no way that some knucklehead just roaming the streets should be able to read you like that. Your emotions are on your sleeve and your neediness is reflected in your face and in your eyes. You got to get control of that. You cannot be walking around here like that with these savages. These dudes are crazy and they're looking for women like you. You're like a sheep just going to be just served up on the plate. So you ladies who are confident, hold your head high. If you have the opportunity to share some tips for how you became confident or how you maintain your boundaries and all of that with men, be sure to share them with some sisters who need some guidance in that way. Do it in a way that's, that's supportive and encouraging because they may not have ever had anybody talk to them like that. They don't even know what you're talking about. Okay? So keep that in mind. Let's not be brutal. But we do need to start working on the younger women, especially. So they're the ones who tend to fall prey to this kind of stuff, especially by older guys. And we want to make sure that this doesn't happen. Validate your girls. Tell them your girls are beautiful. Tell them that they're pretty. Tell them that they're smart. Tell them that they're talented. Let them know that you appreciate the stuff that they do for you. Thank them. Go out of your way to build your girls up. And then by the time they hit their teens, they will be immune to this kind of nonsense. You feel me? This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com and here on the YouTube channel Debsterism. Talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye.